and 106.3.
Terang, it's a high fly ball.
We got pass rushers.
Awesome game set.
Checker flag in the air.
The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Now let's see if we can bring them to life, all right?
Bringing you entertainment and informative sports talk during your workday.
Smart, funny, classy, and I like him a lot.
This is Chase, Willy, and D-Mase with Chase McCabe, Willy Donick,
Mason, touchdown, Tennessee.
and former NFL wide receiver Derek Mason on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and on the Game Nashville app.
This is a new level of geek you got going on here.
What up, Nashville? Good Wednesday morning. Welcome in. Chase, Willy, and D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Chase McCabe, Derek Mason here with you. Nick Keyser, who was worried if I was going to be on time, behind the glass.
Oh my
doing
God!
his
Oh my
thing.
God!
Where is he?
Derek,
He's in his office.
He's
I don't know where he is.
Derek, you might have to open the show. Oh my goodness! What are we gonna do? Where's Willy? Hey, Rook, calm down. The suit will be here. He's right down the way. Don't worry about it. You know, Willy is here. Don't worry about it. We'll be fine.
You know what's funny? I just had flashbacks to when I was in Nick's spot.
Same thing.
I used to do that too. Like, where are they? I don't know where they are. What do we do? Anyway.
So you're not the first, Nick.
And you won't be the last.
Absolutely. There'll always be somebody worried.
Yeah, that's all right. It's good to be worried. It's good to have people to worry about you and care about you.
Exactly.
And all that
Absolutely.
stuff.
We need it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, speaking of being worried, how worried should we be about Taylor Lewan? He, of course, does the Bustin' with the Boys podcast with Will Compton for Barstool Sports. They dropped their latest episode last night, and Lewan opened up about his knee injury. And my takeaways from it is this has basically been lingering since he initially tore his ACL in 2020 and had the surgery. And it kind of sounds like that maybe something went wrong with the initial surgery because he hasn't really been the same. I mean, he got a little better as the season went on last year, but it does feel like that Lewan's been different from a playing standpoint since that knee injury.
Yeah, he's never truly been the same. Since the knee injury, there was a lot that kind of sort of went on during that time. He gets suspended. He has the knee injury, and he just never was the same player. And that's why I always go back to, when we're talking about whether it be Robert Woods or any other player that has significant knee injuries, you never know how one player reacts to the same injury rather than the other. Taylor might be different from Robert Woods. Robert Woods might be different, from Jeffrey Simmons, I think Jeffrey had a knee injury as well. But they all come back or perform differently after the injury. Some takes longer. That's why I was like, listen, pump your brakes on the whole Robert Woods thing. He's coming off an ACL. I know he looks good, but pump your brakes because it takes a minute to come back, at least from what I've seen and experienced. I've never had an injury, but I've been around a bunch of guys who have had ACLs, and I've watched them day after day and practice after practice and how long it took them to come back, and were they the same? And a lot of them were not the same player. And it was interesting listening to Taylor on his podcast and how he described the whole situation. And he was almost cryptic in a sense that, hey, listen, there's more to come, but I can't explain it right now. So
what does that tell you when you hear that somebody says there's more to come?
It means that there's more to come. Like he has more receipts that he will be able to tell more of what's going to. I don't understand. He made it seem like he couldn't say it, and we will have what he said on his podcast. We will have it.
I think we have that right here, actually, yeah.
Let's listen to it.
You haven't played. Like, we haven't gotten to hear from Taylor Lewan about the injury.
When I tore my ACL in 2020, October 2020, I was like on this mission to get back as fast as possible and do everything I possibly could do right. Last year during the season, I had issues. My knee was swelling up. I was always feeling pain in there, and I was like, I don't know what the deal is. And it turns out this year, I found out that there are things with my knee going on now that are like a direct correlation to what happened when I got my knee done. And so I have to go and get my knee fixed to be able to play football or to live like a normal life just in general. Right. So there's not a whole lot I can go into for reasons I can't talk about right now, but I promise that when I am able to talk about everything, I'm an open book. I'll literally say everything that needs to be said and go from there. But the best I can say about this is not a new injury. It's the same injury that happened to last for 2 years.
So you got to fix your knee again. I
got to fix my knee. So I'm leaving tomorrow morning. That's Tuesday to fly to LA. Dr. Elatrosh is going to fix my ACL, and I'll be done for the season.
Okay.
Well, that right there, I mean, it's
and that was I think that was recorded a few weeks ago.
Yeah,
probably.
It was cryptic, but it said a whole lot.
It tells me everything I need to know.
Didn't go as planned.
Sounds like they botched it.
Yeah, you know, and you just wonder, you know, was it the actual botching of the surgery? Was it the rehab that caused the re-injury to the knee in the same area? You know, only Taylor knows, and I'm sure, because I went through this same thing. You know, when I broke my scapula, I broke it at the beginning of the year, like 5 games in, and you know, went in and they told me, listen, you know, you can't damage it anymore, you know, because it's a crack or whatnot. You can't damage it any more than what it is. If you go out, you can still play if you want to play. You know, they didn't force me to play. I was like, okay, I can play, I can run, I can, you know, y'all can do whatever y'all need to do to make sure I can play on Sunday. Didn't practice the whole week, but played on Sundays for like 12 weeks. And then I went to a doctor, Dr. Ting in San Francisco, in San Francisco, who did the surgery. And he was like, man, he said, were you in a car accident? I'm like, no. He was just playing when he said that, being facetious. But he was like, man, these are injuries I usually see in hockey players. But he said, yeah, you clearly broke, like you cracked the scapula. And you need surgery. So I went on ahead and had surgery, and, you know, but, you know, the severity of it, they didn't discuss on the front end, the severity of it. I didn't know the severity of it until I went and got a second opinion later on after the season. And I'm not blaming that on the doctors or the, you know, medical people there early on. I don't blame them. I'm just, you know, when I had to go after the season because it was still bothering me, I got more of an explanation. Like, he went through the whole thing with me. So, you know, you just wonder in Taylor's situation what was said before, what was said during, and what was said after the surgery and the rehab. And then for him to have these same problems going into last season when the knee was swelling up and everything else, and then subsequently you tear it again, and then he comes out and said, I need surgery just to be able to basically move, walk around. It's not really, I need it for football, but I really need it to just be functional. That's the way he made it seem.
Sure.
You know, that I needed to be functional. So that tells me something happened during that surgery.
Yeah, they